Originating in 1984, Transformers has become such a phenomenon throughout the world that these movies keep coming out. The series that have come throughout the decades have been amazing. Between Transformers Armada, Transformers Energon, Transformers Cybertron, Transformers Prime, Beast Wars, Transformers that aired in 1996. It is endless with the amount of Transformers series. And today we have the newest installment in the Transformers franchise, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Let's get into it. Directed by Stephen Caple Jr., I will say that this wasn't the best movie, but it definitely was one of the better Transformers movies that has come out in recent years. Not better than Bumblebee. Bumblebee is always going to be one of my favorite Transformers movies. The first Transformers movie with Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox was really good. Top notch, honestly. It changed the game when it first came out. Then, you have the wacko sequels, but we won't get into that. Transformers Rise of the Beasts was really good. I had such a good time. There were so many things that were incorporated into this movie that nodded to a lot of the animated series. So the basic plot of the Transformers movie is exactly that. It is a basic plot. There is something that they need that both sides of the Transformers faction, the Decepticons and the Autobots, or in this movie, the Maximals, which are the good forms of the Transformers that have over time taken over the form of beasts, the Predacons, which are also the evil versions of the Transformers that have taken over the forms of beasts as well, or cars in this movie. With Anthony Ramos as Noah Diaz and Dominic Fishback as Elena, the movie was really encapsulating when it came to certain characters, but I will say that there was one character that we kind of could have done without. There wasn't much that they added to the story, and even the things that they did add to the story, if they were not in there, someone else could have taken that over, whether it be a Transformer or Noah himself. The one thing with all these Transformers movies is like, yes, in the comics and the series, there are humans that are involved. There are two main humans that are involved specifically in Armada and Energon that, you do need humans because the Transformers defend planet Earth, and if you're on planet Earth, there's humans. So humans are going to be involved no matter what. The thing that these series did that was really good is they fixated more on the Transformers. You got to see the Transformers interact with each other, both the Autobots and the Decepticons, the Maximals and the Predacons. And even in the series Transformers Armada and on from that, you have these things called Minicons, which are mini Transformers that enhance the bigger Transformers. So there's a lot that they could do that would just fixate on Transformers lore. Fortunately, for some reason, Hollywood loves to involve a lot of humans. Of course, you have Peter Cullen, who is the GOAT of voice acting, one of the GOATs of voice acting, playing Optimus Prime. Ron Perlman plays Optimus Primal, and it's phenomenal. Great casting choice. One of my favorites, Peter Dinklage as Scourge. I knew I recognized the voice, man, the way how his voice was in the movie. Obviously, they add, a little special effects for the Transformers voices, but I recognize his voice. Peter Dinklage played the voice of Scourge, one of the Predacons in this movie. One of my favorite Transformers from some of the series is Airazor, and Michelle Yeoh actually voiced her, and I'm so glad that she was in this movie as this specific Transformer, because Transformers, obviously, it's not really male or female, they're robots in disguise, but they do take on these aesthetics of more masculine or feminine things depending on what they see that they transform into. Pleasantly surprised with Pete Davidson's performance as Mirage. Now, Mirage is a brand new character, and originally when I saw the trailer, I thought instinctively that it was Jazz, because this takes place in the 1990s, and the first Transformers movie came out in the 2000s, and slight spoiler, Jazz gets killed in the first Transformers movie. So I thought this was before that, Jazz in his younger time. But no, this is a brand new character that is somewhat modeled after Jazz. So overall, this movie was modeled after the 1996 series mainly, which was Beast Wars Transformers, and Noah Diaz's character was modeled after Kicker Jones, which is a character in Transformers Energon, and the way how they incorporated a lot of that, the essence of that series into this movie, that really gripped me. I was geeking a lot more than I thought I would be throughout the movie, because I went in with lower expectations because I saw such negative things about this movie. I have my negatives. I said a little bit of them, and I'll say a little bit more of them as this review goes on. I don't see the big hate. It was exactly what it is, a Transformers movie. Action-packed epic that, you know, fixates on robots in disguise blowing shit up. Like, it's everything that you think it's gonna be. As I said earlier, the story was quite lackluster, and that is one of my main negatives about this movie, is that the story was just too basic, and it is the same story that we've seen done 1,000,001 times, not just in every other Transformers film, but in other films, just in general. There is one faction, that fixates on getting a specific artifact or thing that will help them in some overall goal, and there's another faction that is opposing that group, trying to get that same artifact that will help their team. Such a similar trope that we've seen, and you know, you've seen it done so many times that when you see it done in this way, it's like, okay, well, great. It wasn't really that gripping of a story, to be completely honest, but Anthony Diaz as a main character really gripped me with his emotions when it came to his family and protecting his home and in getting involved with the Transformers, and even his shock at experiencing a Transformer for the first time, especially in the time frame that they were in. He did a great job as a main character or protagonist in this film, and I'm very pleasantly surprised with how well of a job he did. Not that I thought he was going to do a terrible job, but it's just because of the notion that Transformers has, the live action Transformers have, and I just didn't expect that this movie would be as good as it was. I'm a huge Transformers fan, and I was, again, just geeking, man, that there's so many people that came into this movie. In the trailers you see that RC is in this, and RC is one of my favorite characters. Again, I have a lot of favorite Transformers. I could go on and on and on and on about Transformers, but they brought in RC, which is a female aesthetic robot, but she is a badass in the cartoons, and even in this movie they definitely kept the badass nature of RC, and I loved it. So earlier I was saying that I did not like this movie more than Bumblebee, and as I thought about it on the drive home, yeah, no, Bumblebee is in a different caliber. The way how that story blended so well together was just beautiful done. And this movie was good too, but it can't touch that. I just wish that going forward, hopefully they will fixate more on the Transformers. This movie did a better job with doing that, but still there were at times too much human interaction for a Transformers film. The humor is spot on. Man, Pete Davidson really had me dying. He did a good job as Mirage. Optimus even had his moments with like his sly comments. Like, everything worked very well when it came to the humor and the voice acting. It's just like I said, there's just, you know, one character or two maybe, but specifically one that didn't really need to be there. Going forward with Transformers films, I hope that they lean more towards some of this lore in the animated series that fans really want to see. Thanks again for stopping by, guys. It's much appreciated. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you can get a notification anytime there's a new video. Thanks again for watching. Until the next one.